Welcome back to Good News Covington County. So glad to have you here on this beautiful April 3rd day on Court Square in Andalusia, Alabama. Article from the Andalusia Star News. In fact, all of our articles are from the Andalusia Star News. We appreciate it. The original article we talked about earlier about pre-K registration was by Michelle Gerlach. And the article about the cleanup in the county was by Larry Stinson, again of the Andalusia Star News. We're sure appreciative of the good work that they do, and we want to give them all the attribution that we can. There was a report in the Andalusia paper. If you think that it's been dry, you might be right. According to the rainfall totals for the first quarter of 2018, they're much lower than the same period for 2017. According to the data released this week by the Choctawhatchee and Yellow Rivers Watershed Management Authority. The the Chalk Pea, is that chocolate covered peas or what? Authority recorded 12.80 inches of rain on the Yellow River on Highway 84 this year, compared to 21.74 inches of rain on the same period in 2017. The Chalk Pea monitors rainfall on the Yellow River at Highway 55. Year to date, the agency has recorded 15.36 inches of rain on Highway 55 compared to 16.28 inches of rain the same period of 2017. You know, we had a pretty dry December, and it looked like February was going to make up an awful lot of the rainfall for us. We've had some windy months in March, and it's dry out there again. So y'all be cautious, and if you're a praying person, pray for a little bit of rain. I think these farmers might need a little bit as they start moving around and stirring the soil up, and it sure won't hurt to eliminate the pollen in the air. That's a doggone pain in the head. Now, in Andalusia, Covington County, the Relay for Life is a really, really big event. A lot of organizations in the community go out and do their best to raise funds for the Relay for Life, because quite frankly, it helps an awful lot of people here in Covington County. And Covington County, as I said yesterday, is a giving place. Andalusia is a giving town. Red Level is a giving town. Opp is a giving town. We're going to cover an article in a few minutes about Opp that'll show you how they give, what they care for. But the Relay for Life is a thing that raises a lot of fun. Now, tomorrow and Friday, we're going to have people from the Andalusia Police Department in here to talk with us about their car wash efforts and the side benefits that occur from that they'll be doing over this weekend in Andalusia. One of the other things that's happened is what the city of Andalusia is doing through the Planning and Development Department here in Andalusia. On Thursday and Friday, April 5th and 6th, from 8 p.m. until 5, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Each day, they'll be selling plants right across from us, across the street here on the square. These plants will be to beautify, for you to be able to beautify your home or an area here in Andalusia, and they'll be reasonably priced. They're hoping to sell a lot of them because the funding, 100% of the profit from this thing, or funding rather, is going to go, there goes Johnny Duggan. Got somebody a new Nissan Versa. Anyway, the funding will go to the Relay for Life, and the guy that they interviewed in the article is a really special person. I got to know him a while back. His name's Wendell Dice. He works for the city, and if you look around a lot of times and you see somebody pruning the rose bushes or that kind of stuff, that's probably Wendell. He's got a lot of people working to keep Andalusia beautiful, and for Mayor Johnson and the powers that be, and frankly for all of us. Wendell is kind of interesting. He's a native of this area, went off and served 24 years in the United States Air Force, came back, went to work with the city, fell in love with gardening. And Wendell is now on the staff of Andalusia, the city of Andalusia. And we've got more than one in the county, but Wendell is now a master gardener. It's a real asset to have on the staff here in Andalusia. He will help with the planning and development of a lot of the things that you see around here. And he does have a green thumb. In fact, I think he may have 10 of them. Wendell does a good job for the city and is just as humble as anyone I've ever met in my life. Comes from that Dice family's just got a lot of good people in it. They're hoping to sell a lot of plants, and the weather forecast for Thursday and Friday looks like it's going to be pretty good. We hope so. We'll be right across from the square here filming them, and maybe we'll be able to get a Wendell or somebody on here to talk to you about the plant sale. The prices will range for the plants from $6 to $30. The high end of the plant sale will be the crepe myrtles. And Andalusia does have a lot of beautiful crepe myrtles in it. They're just beginning to start to bloom, and they'll also be selling plumbagos, banana trees, and laurel petaloons. Now, I had to look that up to find out what a laurel petaloon was, and it's a kind of a reddish plant that grows low onto the ground. It can grow higher than that, but it's used for a lot of ground cover and a lot of landscaping around a lot of the homes here in town. I don't know what they'll sell for, but they're beautiful plants. The plumbagos are a ground cover plant that used to be extremely popular in the South. They only get about this high, and they can have, depending upon the variety, a number of different colors: red, blues, yellows, pinks. But they're a great little beautiful ground cover for this part of the world. One of the great things about the plumbagos is in this part of the world, typically when everything else is starting to slow down, the plumbagos come out and will give you a beautiful, colorful garden in the late summer and in the fall. So you plant your garden ahead of time to get good results. And I'm pretty sure that if you ask Wendell what to do with it, he could give you some pretty good advice. But the important thing in this is not just that you got a good looking yard, but you help some people through the funding for the Relay for Life. In other news in Andalusia, the Board of Education met and they made some big decisions. They've got a lot going on down at Andalusia High School and the Andalusia Municipal Stadium there at Andalusia High School. As they go through the remodeling and refurbishing and astroturfing of the stadium and changing up where the track was and all this other kind of stuff, they've had a lot to do. One of the things that they did last night was they awarded the bid for the visitors bleachers at the Andalusia High School Stadium. It went to Outdoor Aluminum Inc., and I don't know where they're from, for $127,950. They ought to be nice seats. I sure hope they are. They also authored the central office personnel to pursue an online registration system to reduce paperwork and make it possible to have kind of an electronic system to manage the students and personnel a lot better. It's kind of a sad comment on our times, but a lot of what they're doing right now is just good preventative structure. Every school in the United States is aware of some of the threats that are out there for the schools. This particular set of software is designed to help the Andalusia City Schools account for students, take care of them. Should there ever be and I hope, Lord knows I hope there never will be, but should there ever be a tragedy at one of these schools like they've had in a few here the last few years. And the last thing that they did was they agreed to purchase 2 new air-conditioned buses. Air-conditioned buses. How nice. I can remember when we'd go to a football game when I was a kid. You'd gotten in one of those yellow dog school buses and you let the windows down. If you wanted air conditioning, you let them up if you didn't. And you hope that Mr. Sidney Blue would drive you safely to wherever the game was, or the concert, or whatever. I'm glad to see that they're getting air-conditioned coaches. I'm sure if nothing else, it's going to save the city an awful lot of money as they try to carry these teams and bands to a lot of these events. I'm thinking that they've had to lease buses in the past to accommodate those kind of things, and maybe this will be a big money-saving issue for them. I hope that all works out real well for the people that use those buses. It's a nice thing. The last thing we'll report in this segment is a little news from Opp. The Opp City Council okayed $25,000 for the pool repairs at the Hardin Street School. Now that's one of the Hardin Street schools, one of those community centers that we have in different towns. This is one in Opp, and they have a pool there that has fallen into disrepair over the years. It's an older pool, and they had a real dilemma there in Opp, and I think they've stepped up to the plate. Of course, they built a brand new pool in there that's a wonderful facility that Opp's built. It's really I'm not going to say world class, but it's a state class facility. If they want to have swimming meets and that kind of stuff, they can have them there. It's built for that kind of thing. But the Hardin pool is on the, I guess you'd say, the south side of town, and it's fallen into bad repair. And last year they only had $400 worth of admission paid for to use the pool, and they spent $4,000 on the pool for repairs this year. There was talk of taking the pool and shutting it down, filling a hole, and putting in a water feature. That was bandied around a lot in council meetings over there. And after all of this, they have decided they will start out by trying to refurbish the pool. The $25,000 that they'll spend this time is going to be primarily to replace the pumping and the plumbing that is aged out in that pool. There will still be leaks and holes that they'll have to repair to the tune of about $60,000. Now here's where the flies in the oatmeal. They will only be able to rationalize that $60,000 expense if they can have more people using the facility. Now the city of Opp and the city council have gotten together and they've developed a program that they'll utilize the Hardin school facility for through the summer to provide free meals to school-aged kids. They'll also have activities for them to keep them busy, give them some educational supplement, that kind of stuff through the summer. And then they'll use the pool as well as maybe not a centerpiece, but an important part of their activities. I know that when I worked at Apple, the days that we could send the children down to the Coleman pool were some of the best days that those children had. And I hope that Opp will be able to do the same thing with the pool at Hardin Street. Now, that's our news for a little while. We'll be back shortly.